Hey everybody. As you've watched probably in the last couple episodes, if you've tuned in, I bought a bunch of furniture that I wanted to use for display pieces. And they're inside the overhead door inside the antique shop right now, just plugging everything up. They all need a little TLC to be display worthy. So let's get at it. That's cool. Oh, that's pretty neat. Doesn't stink real bad. That's kind of cool. I might be able to give that a home. Hi everyone. Welcome to Glacier Trading Company. I'm Craig. Join me from my remote northern location as I buy and sell antiques, collectibles, vintage, and old guitars. I buy from auctions, estate liquidations, both public and private, and resell online. Hang out with me for a bit and see what I got this week, and meet some of the local wildlife that live in my backyard. Let's get to it. So like you can see, they painted over these screws on here. And I really dislike when people do that because all the paint chips off the hinges and see how it just looks like crap. So what we're gonna do today, I bought at the sale yesterday a cheap crock pot for $1 or $2. We're gonna take all these hinges and we're gonna put them in a crock pot setting on high for about 10 or 12 hours. And it does a real good job of releasing the paint off these old original hinges. I could just replace the hinge, but I like the old stuff. So what I'm doing now is I'm just scratching the paint out of the screw slots. So with any luck, I can get a screwdriver in there. Boy, there's a lot of paint on there. Who knows how many years it's been like that. I forgot to hit record. Okay. Hello. I figure out how to do this so it's just not a picture of my back of my head in here. Nobody wants to see that. So anyway, what I did was I took my little pick tool here and scratched the paint, attempt to scratch a million years of paint out of the slots of these old-timey screws, which I'll more than likely just replace. That is brass, as you would expect from the old days. The problem with these is trying to get them out. The brass is so soft that sometimes the head will just shear, half of the head will shear off. And then you got a real pain in the butt. So my plan, like I said, is to crock pot these. Just to try to see if this old paint will just flake off. I'm not really interested in trying to get the brass to shine like a mirror. I don't really care about that. I'm fine with its original patina. In fact, I'm more than fine with that. I kind of prefer it. Oh man, that one's really got a... How's that going? I don't like this screwdriver. It's too skinny. Oh, it moved. There it goes. I win. Well, probably a good idea would be to score this. Break through that old layer of paint somewhat. Ta-da. Yeah, it's definitely brass. So I'll just sand that so it's flush. I can feather it out, get it nice. And then I had mix up some paint for me in town. And I got some blue, and I'll get this thing looking good. I'm not going to bore you with taking all the rest of them on. I'm going to go to town on those now. Okay, so here's what's up. I'm outside. I bought this cheap one-handled crock pot at the auction yesterday for $2 for the simple purpose of boiling these hinges and screws with. So typically just puts water, just plain water in there. Some people put other things, a little bit of dish soap they say, but water just seems to work pretty good for latex products. Oil-based, it's a different deal, but the factory that built that cabinet would not have painted the hinges like that. So that's probably a shabby chic person. A shabby chic person is going to use latex more than likely. It's just cheaper and easier to deal with water cleanup than oil cleanup. Anyway, leave them in there for about 10 hours. I got it outside because this is an untested piece of electrical stuff. And I like the idea of it starting the gravel on fire rather than the building. And I'm not going to hang around all day. So we'll come back later and see how it did. Yummy. What's for dinner? Boiled hinge. Awesome. So that's what it looks like after, I guess it's been 15 hours or so to put it in there. So I took one off and hit it with a brass brush, and it came about 90% clean, although it's really bright brass looking. So let me show you what that looks like. So here we are, and that's kind of how they came out, some a little better than others. There were more layers of paint on there than I originally had thought. There was a layer of oil-based paint on the bottom, so this has been covered up a number of times since its inception. But we're going to put these back in the bathtub, set it on high, and come back and check it out in about 4 or 5 more hours. So change of plans on these screws. They are steel. I thought they were brass. They kind of look like it when I was taking them out, but these are just going to rust and keep on rusting. So I'm going to the big city today, population 8,000 people, and go to the local hardware store and see if I can find some cool brass straight slot, somewhat similar replacements, because these just look like throwing good money after bad. So in an effort to make this better, we've discovered that these are not brass, these are copper. So we're using a little solution of some salt and vinegar in the crock pot, and my assistant is going to give it a stir with the only piece of wood that we had handy was an old wagon wheel spoke that was off a broken wagon wheel that is nearby. Oh man, smell that. Oof. That's seriously gag worthy. How long were you supposed to do that?
I'll do it for a couple minutes. It's not boiling though.
Yeah, it's on high. I think just from opening and closing it, it's gotten past that point. Show everybody your stir stick. Hold still. That's a beast there. 1800s wagon wheel spoke. Awesome. So our little concoction is loosening this stuff up, but there's some stubborn stuff, and there's some really stubborn patina, and what we discovered is it's spots where the copper has pitted and whatever has really taken a major hold in the metal. But we're getting it pretty close. Not trying to make it look like brand new, but definitely trying to get 100% of the old paint off. See how it pops?
Mm-hmm.
And then using a little barkeeper's friend to kind of bring them back up. And this one we're calling done. I need to go rinse it off in case it's got any salt or vinegar or whatever in our concoction. But that's good enough. I mean, come on, that thing's 100 years old.
There you go. It's coming back.
Yeah, that probably looks too good.
Let's get this out of the corners.
Well, I think I'll probably rinse it with that nylon brush and
Yeah,
you know,
that'll get the rest
get all
of
the
it.
good, so I wouldn't worry about trying to get it out of the nooks and crannies. I think I can do that.
Is it better?
Really nice. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Let's keep at it.
100-year-old Japanese copper-plated butterfly hinge. Who would have thought that was under all that paint? Impossible to believe, right? Well, if you look really close, they do have slight flaws, but who would ever have expected that, right? Pretty amazing. But now I got brass screws today, and the brass screws clearly aren't going to work with this, so I have to come up with another... So I have to come up with something else. Back to the hardware store, I guess. So I have this cabinet laying on its back right now. So I'm sanding it out, and because where all the old hinges were, you know, they had painted all the paint up and over the hinge, so it had like this huge, really kind of gross buildup. And when I tried sanding it out, it just kept peeling where the sandpaper was trying to feather. That immediately tells me that this had an oil-based paint, so like a semi-gloss or a gloss under it, and whoever painted the latex on there didn't prep it. So I got this product, I've used it a number of times. This Zinsser Peel Stop Triple Thick. It's a primer that it's really super thick, and I like to put a couple layers on it, and then you can block that as long as you don't get too aggressive with it. And then you can paint right over the top of it, and it'll stop it from peeling. So anyway, that's where I am with it, and I did the doors right where all the hinges were, where they were peeling too. So I'm kind of stuck until that dries, and I'll come back and block that, and then we'll see how that goes from there. So in the meantime, like we showed when we were cleaning these antique Japanese hinges, and it turns out they're not brass, they're copper. So I tried to find copper screws, but I couldn't get the right blend. So I made my own copper screws. It's a cheat, it's a hack. But look at the color match, it's really pretty right on. So what I did is I got new decorative hardware. So it's got the single slot in it instead of a Phillips head, so it looks period correct. And I put them on a box lid. I just had a package come in, and before I threw this box out, I just stuck all the screws in the box. I was short a few, so I'm going to do those right now, but just put them in the box, hit them from all different angles, and just kind of watch what it is that you're applying next to so you don't overshoot the runway and make them too dark. And that's going to be my copper screws. And that's going to have to do, because finding the exact size, length, number in copper is pretty limiting. antique shop back to shape here. So all of his half-done projects laying around. But I find with projects, you work on them and work on them, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're all done, which is a good feeling. I normally don't do any of these steps, but something that I'm going to keep inside here. I like it to show well. Close it. That's good enough. This is just the touch-up that I'm doing right now. I'm not really trying to cover anything. I'm confident that this paint color is spot on to the original, because I've already tested it. Let it sit for a week. All I'm trying to do is get this splatter from this color that got away from me a little bit. For doing a light recoat like this, I actually almost like putting the paint on like this, because usually it's, when you dip it, it's so easy to overload this thing, and then it's dripping and, you know, all kinds of new issues. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these up close before, but it's just something to hang on to. It's got two little guide wheels, and it's just a replaceable pad that just snaps off the back. And a complete one of these, it's under $4. And then these replacements, you get a few in a package for like $2.50. So I like them a lot. That's about it. It's been shabby. That means it's not precise. It's just, it is what it is. But it's a whole lot fresher looking now. That sets up. Then I'm gonna put the hinges on it. The new bright copper hinges that we saved from this. And then I'm gonna slide it into position and start to stage it. All right, so the paint's dry. I'm good with the way it turned out. Looks okay to me. So I'm getting ready to put the hardware back on. I've got a bunch of screws and hinges. I'm not going to bore you with the step-by-step, so I'll just turn the camera off and I'll get it done. Well, that's it. Time to put it in place and start to stage it. This is my old 1920s, I'm going to call it the Depression era cabinet, because that's what it is. It's all re-shabbied. It was shabbied once, and I shabbied it again because it wasn't done fantastically. It was okay, but I got my copper hinges in there, looking good. And it's got a super heavy-duty top on it, so I can put heavy things up there. That grinder there from 1911 is like 100 pounds. It's crazy heavy. It looks good next to the old half Hoosier. And as always, thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next video. See ya. I just got done saying that. I'm going to turn the camera around here. Look at this. Look at that old girl. You know I'm out here filming, don't you? You can see me, right? What do you want? What's up? Hey, sweetie. Are you looking for a handout? Huh? Are you looking for something? You don't have a fearful bone in your body, do you? This is the part where you beat me to death, isn't it? That's crazy, man. It's so fun having a place out in the woods. Wow. Thanks again for watching, you guys.